it's Tyler back with another video. About a month ago, I made a video where I talked about maximal strength not being the most important thing for sprinters and how being completely maximally strong doesn't make you faster in and of itself. Somehow me saying maximally strong got misconstrued as saying sprinters should be weak and that being strong can make you slow. I didn't say either one of those things, and the wording there is a little bit tricky, so I wanted to make this video to kind of clear up some of the confusion about how strong you realistically need to be as a sprinter between what is strong enough and what is maximally strong. I'm going to compare myself and also my friend Dylan, who is an Olympic weightlifter and just one of the strongest people that I know. This guy is seriously strong. He can snatch 120 kilos, squat 240 kilos. He is seriously maximally strong. And this is what we mean by maximally strong.
Stand it up, let's go. Big brace, fast.
Which means that he has invested so much of his training into building more muscle, into putting on more size, and into being as strong as possible in these movements. It takes a lot of technique and coaching and cueing these movements to have the skill of squatting, of a snatch, of a clean and jerk. These things take so much investment from him that he had to abandon any other kind of training to get maximally strong. This doesn't mean that he's completely slow. If he wanted to come out and run some 10-meter flies or some 40-yard dashes, he would really be able to, get a good workout in and really show, hey, I'm faster than you think. But the biggest difference between him and someone who trains as a sprinter is just about where he invests the time. Obviously, he can still get out there and put a lot of force into the track, but he doesn't have the timing and all of the technique that comes with sprinting because that's not what he trains for. And if you start to factor in things like conditioning and some of those different energy systems that don't come into play with Olympic weightlifting, obviously there's a big difference between him and a highly trained runner. It doesn't mean that he's slow, but it means that if his end-all be-all goal was to be fast, he would have to restructure some of his training and reprioritize what he's doing. On the other hand, if you compare him to someone like me, who is a trained sprinter, although I'm not an Olympian, I am still a pretty solid sprinter. In the past 6 months, some of my hand times throughout practice, about 10.8, 21.6, and 47.3. My best 10-meter fly time from the last 6 months is 0.91, which is about 24 and a half miles an hour. But I'm also pretty strong. Best squat is 345. My best clean is 255. These are legitimately strong numbers, and when I go to a gym, no one would say that I'm weak. Only people in the YouTube comment sections on that video. But there's a difference between, hey, you're pretty strong for your size, and wow, this dude can squat a house. And so on one hand, you have someone like my friend Dylan, who is a trained lifter, who is investing a lot of their training into being maximally strong. My friend Dylan is not concerned with his max vertical jump. He's not really concerned with his 10-meter fly time in any meaningful way. Those aren't training priorities for him. He might do them because they're beneficial for the workout, but they're not his main goal. But that's not going to be a key performance indicator for my sprint performance. Yes, being strong enough is important, and sprinters should aim to be somewhat strong. But it's much more important what kind of weight you can move in things like a quarter squat where your hip is over your knee, or on a single leg step up where that natural unilateral movement is much more important. But at the end of the day, true maximal strength takes a lot of time and investment and teaching in order to get very good at it. And if you're training for something very intense, you can only handle so much training. If you're somebody who wants to get faster, you can't spend 80% of your time working on your max squat because that only leaves you about 20% in order to really focus on block starts, on conditioning, on your running technique, on your form, on your elastic strength. Those are the things that are also very important to a sprinter that need to take more of a precedent than just weight room numbers. And the same is true for someone whose goal is maximal strength. You can't spend 20% of your time squatting and hope that you're going to be the best squatter in the world. That's just not a realistic goal for you. If you can only stress the body so much, you have to focus your intense training on only the most specific things to your goal. So if you want to get faster, you have to focus on intense sprinting because that is the most specific thing to your goal. And then you can fill in everything else as you're able to. If you're able to handle a couple of weight room sessions on top of sprinting, that's awesome and can really help. If your main goal is to squat as much as possible, you might be able to handle some amount of running, but you need to make sure that you're handling your squat volume first before you start adding in other things. If you want to get faster, sprinting is your most essential and the weight room is supplemental. And if your goal is strength, then obviously the opposite is true. And of course, the most important thing if you want to get faster is to subscribe to my channel and watch every single one of my videos.